Hello, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So please introduce yourself for everyone. Who are you? What do you do?
I am Terry. I run a blog, Terry Talks, and so I teach nutrition and wellness, and I also I do consultations for those who want that personal one-on-one, and I help them to find better results in their health and by eliminating some of their health challenges. So that's what I do.
So what I want to jump into right now is what got you started starting your own business?
I've always been an entrepreneur, and um, since it's been 18 years where I've always run my own business. It wasn't online though. So the online game started for me in 2016.
Okay.
And so I just running a business online was totally different from working in a business and also just running my business in a brick and mortar. But I actually ran a business from home for the past 18 years. And so during that time, I just always thought, well, if I don't do this and I go and choose to do something else, it will be another business because that is the mindset that I've always many times throughout this business that whenever I would think of doing something different, it was never going to work for someone. It was always starting another business, which I did try a business before. It was a fail. And that was back in maybe 2015. And
Okay.
that business, it was an online business. It was a resale. It was an online resale business. So I actually was reselling clothes, children's clothes, and
Mhm.
it was like a consignment shop online. So it took a lot of my time, and I didn't have the time to put in because I was running my other business first, and it was just it needed more of my time, and I didn't have the time, so I stopped.
What made you springboard 18 years ago to say I'm just going to go in business for myself?
Um, well, running a business. I was doing it for 18 years. It was just that whole mindset. I just didn't think that there was anything else for me to do. I'm a veteran, so whenever I would think about doing anything else, it would be, oh, I'm going to go work for doing something for the Veterans Administration or something like that. But it was
Thank you,
always still working from home and not going to work in their locations.
and thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. And so tell us what was your first job as a teenager?
Cashier. I was a
Really?
cashier. I worked at, yeah, Church's Chicken when I was 15 years old.
Really?
I needed bus fare to get to high school. So I started working at Church's Chicken. The
How did
best
you like?
job ever.
Really? Seriously? What
Yeah,
did you like about that?
it was an out for me. You know, teenagers usually have issues, of course, most of the time. So for me, it was an out for me. I wanted to get out of the house, get away from, restrictions, as us teenagers think. But I just needed to get out and do something different and contribute. So cashier is what I did working at churches. It was fun. I was always a happy, silly teenager. So just being around older people, I was able to bring my energy to them because they seemed like they needed some smiles. Once you get into adult life, things are not so carefree as an adult. So
Mm-hmm.
here I was, this teenager, I was carefree, and they were not. They were only focused on making money and getting out of there to go and take care of their kids. But so I just loved that out and getting away and just being the silly me and the happy me. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how long have you been into healthy living?
Healthy living started for me back in 2006. And first, I had a friend who planted that seed, and she told me she talked about colon cleansing or something. And at the time, I didn't understand any of that. I had never heard of colon cleansing and parasites and things like that. I always knew the parasites existed in our skin or whatever, but I didn't really understand when she was telling me about colon cleansing. So she talked to me about that, and then I just let it go to the wayside because it was more than I could comprehend. So then a year later, well, that was in 2005, but in 2006, my son, at the time he was 12 years old, he had high blood pressure when I took him to his 12-year checkup.
Hmm.
And when the doctor said he had high blood pressure, I thought, that's insane. 12-year-olds don't get high blood pressure. But I started doing a lot of research to find out what I was doing wrong. And I had learned that it was his diet. We had all types of processed foods and everything. And he was overweight also. But I was afraid of having him get on medication. So the doctor had said, come back in 30 days, we'll see if it changes. So that was my cue to fix it in 30 days. So in 30 days, I totally revamped our diet and started changing things. Because, we would go to McDonald's and he would get 2 double cheeseburgers. I would let him have that. And he ate it all with fries and a drink. We were that type of family. Like, we just ate
Hmm.
everything. And so I was not overweight. My husband was not overweight. So I couldn't understand why my son was. At least I didn't put it together that McDonald's and all the other garbage I was feeding him was causing all that. But we stopped doing all those things and we just started changing how he ate and increased his bowel movements. Because, when you're eating a lot of garbage, you really don't eliminate enough. And he wasn't. He would miss days not having elimination. It was just some of those basic things that we don't think about that needed to be changed in his diet and his lifestyle. So that was where it all started. And then from there, we went back again after a month, and his blood pressure was back to normal again. And then
Wow.
I asked the doctor, is there something I should do about the weight? Because I don't like him being overweight. And she started asking, like, how are we eating? And then I told her, and I said, he loves to have McDonald's every Friday, and he usually eat a double cheeseburger, fries, and a drink. And she said, double cheeseburger? She said, no, he doesn't need a double cheeseburger. So I'll never forget that when she said that, double cheeseburger. But he would eat 2 of those. So
Hmm.
we changed all that and we just started. I stopped buying cereal because I used to have like 10 and 12 boxes of cereal on my refrigerator. We stopped eating like that, and I stopped buying, juice and fruit snacks, and then I started putting that money into other foods, like more vegetables and fruits and things. So it took some time. I bought my first bag of organic apples and I thought I was really doing something, but that was a start. And that's where it all started. And I just continue to do the research and to continue to make adjustments, because I just feel like if I don't get it right now, he's going to be, worse off later. And then I met with a nutritionist. I feel like I needed to talk to someone because I was just online doing the research and I had found Dr. McCullough's website, and that was it from there. I just learned so much. I just kept going to his website for more answers, and his search box, I was just searching everything. And but I still needed to talk to someone. So that's when I started looking for a nutritionist in the area where I live. And I found a girl, and I would just ask her all types of questions. I mean, I rang her phone so much. I was like, Nicole, this, that, oh, she would just answer all my questions. I just felt like I needed that confirmation because I was reading everything online and I was getting really overwhelmed. But then I felt like if I could talk to someone and confirm what I'm reading, maybe I'll feel a little better about some truth here. But she was confirming everything that I was reading, and she's like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And you just need to change how you cook now. So I had to learn how to cook all over again the right way. Instead of like overcooking my vegetables, I learned to cook them, stir fry and all that. So it was just it was a process from 2006 up to now. That was where it started.
So overcooking your vegetables, that makes me nervous to ask you. What do you, because I thought that I cook my vegetables well, but I also add a lot of butter on them. So,
Okay.
so what is the right way to cook vegetables?
The right way, well, you could either steam your vegetables, because when you steam them, you don't lose all the minerals and vitamins in them. When you overcook the vegetables, you actually lose, like let's say broccoli, for instance, when you cook broccoli, it's best to either steam them in really low water, and it only takes about maybe a couple of minutes after the water starts boiling and your broccoli turns bright green. That's when you turn it off. Because what happens is when you cook your vegetables and you turn that fire off or the heat off, they continue to cook, and that's how they end up getting overcooked, because you have to stop them probably halfway to, through their cooking time, and then you let them pot cook, I call it, and you just let the heat finish cooking them the rest of the way. Or you can immediately remove it off the heat and just let it sit until you're ready to serve. But in the same for stir frying usually only takes 5 minutes. It doesn't take 10-15 minutes to stir fry vegetables, because by then they're going to get soggy and watery, because all that water starts leaving the vegetables, and you really don't need to lose all your water from your vegetables into your pot where they become soggy. It's best, if you're going to stir fry, have all your vegetables ready, and then you put everything in on high heat, and you just constantly turn them until they turn crispy but tender at the same time. It's crispy on the outside, well, crispy on the inside but tender on the outside. And that's 5 minutes tops, and you have really good vegetables. So that was something I had to learn, because I was overcooking everything. My broccoli, I would see them turn green, but then they would turn bland, in color. Because I was overcooking them. So, with meat being the exception, you have to cook your meat until it's done. You don't want, or
So you don't eat rare anything.
Yeah, I do eat red meat. I do eat meat. I don't eat it as much as I used to. My typical dinners used to be meat, starch, and vegetables. Now, majority of the time, my typical dinners are vegetables on half the plate, and salad on the other half, and that's what I'll eat. And then I'll throw in some other, like lentils and some other fillers to make me full. Usually those root vegetables I'll add to my stir fries, just to help to make the dinner more satisfying and not so light and I'm hungry 30 minutes later. So, but meat I usually will cook. I don't cook meat often, but I do cook it. Probably, maybe I would say about twice a week I may cook a meat. So, but not the way I used to.
So walk us through.
Cheese eating person.
So walk us through your daily routine.
My daily routine is, I usually, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'll do is, after I get dressed and everything, is I usually will go down, because I have to work in the morning. So I usually will go down and I'll have a lime water. So I'll have some warm lime water to help with that further detoxification. If it's the day that I'm intermittent fasting, then the lime water is all I'll have. I'll drink that, and it usually will keep me from, I don't get hungry for a good hour after having the lime water. So then I'll have a smoothie after that. So I'll make a smoothie, and then probably after the smoothie, I'll go, back to work again. And then I usually will have, if I get hungry, I'll have fruit for a snack. But if I don't get hungry, I'll just usually keep working until lunchtime. And my lunch is usually a salad, or I may make a veggie bowl. I'll just get some vegetables, whatever I have in the refrigerator, and I'll quickly stir fry them and sit down and just have a veggie bowl. And then there's times where if I don't cook any vegetables, I'll just have a fruit bowl for lunch. So I'll have like 3 different types of fruit, and that's all I'll eat. With all that fiber and water, I'm satisfied after a fruit bowl. So I'll eat that for lunch. And then for dinner, I usually will have stir fry vegetables with salad. So that's basically how I usually eat. And if I do have meat on that day, then I'll usually have a stir fry with meat mixed in it. Usually I try not to eat concentrated pieces of meat as a side dish. I usually will chop whatever type of meat, if it's chicken or something like that. I prefer to just chop the meat in my stir fries. That way I'm not eating too much of the animal protein, because we don't need as much animal protein as we're believing here in this country. We think we need a lot of protein, and we don't.
We don't.
Yeah, and you can get it from your plants. But if you choose to go with the animal protein, then you don't have to have, two chicken legs. You can chop up one chicken leg and mix it in a stir fry, and there's you still getting your protein, but you're also going to be satisfied. And with the cost of food today, especially with meats, um, the best way to save your money when it comes to eating healthy and then not eating so much the foods that don't help us anyways, you can cut down on your meat by you can buy one pack of chicken and make a dinner with that, especially depending on the size of your family. You don't need 2 and 3 packs of chicken legs to cook a dinner for everyone, because that's a lot of meat. You can just take 1 pack of meat, chop it up, mix it in a stir fry, and you're good. That's your one of your side dishes, and you can have a salad with it, and that's your meal. So that's kind of basically how I usually would eat when I make my meals.
And do you take any vitamins, supplements?
I do take right now I'm taking immunity supplements, antivirals, just because of the virus that's going around. I haven't had a cold in the past 2 years, I will say, but since the coronavirus has gone around, I did catch a cold. And it's like it went away in 7 days, but I did get a cold, and I guess it's because of, everyone is they're trying so hard not to get sick. People are getting sick.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, when somebody has a cold or something and you catch a cold, that's normal. But this year I did catch a cold. Right before summer started, I did get a cold, and I haven't had a cold in a couple of years. So mainly my supplements are the antiviral that I'll take daily, and then minerals that I get. I actually make my own mineral supplement. So I'll make minerals with herbal powders. Yeah, it's really simple.
Wait,
But
how
I'll
do you
make
do that? Wait, simple. You're talking. Simple. Wait, wait, do you have your own garden?
I do have a garden, but I
You have a
don't grow the
garden?
herbs. Yeah, I don't grow the herbs though. Yeah, I don't grow the herbs. Now, I'm not the best gardener ever, okay? I have
Okay.
a lot of garden space, but it's not filled with the garden. I have a strawberry patch, but it keeps getting overpowered with the weeds. So you have to
Mhm.
get in your garden every day. Sometimes I don't get in there and the weeds will start coming up. So, but I do have a garden, and I order my herbs though. I usually will order my herbal powders, and then I'll capsulate them, but I also mix them. So I'll mix when I make my mineral powders with them. I'll usually mix some high mineral herbs together, and then I'll
And
add
that's
them to it.
and that's what you sell on your Amazon store, right?
Actually, I don't sell them. I don't even sell my mineral
Really?
powder. Yeah, I probably
Is,
should,
is, is
but
it a
I
is it
haven't.
a CDC thing? Like you have to get it approved?
You know what? I don't know. I haven't even looked into that. I just made the mineral powders for my family, because I was always buying like a protein powder here and some type of powder. And I thought, you know what? I love, dipping in the herbs, and I learned so much about the herbs, so I started just making my own herbal powders. So I'll usually just make my own iron, powders, and my iodine powders and my mineral powders, and I'll just have the family, make sure they put it in their smoothies. And then my teenager, I have to capsulate his because he doesn't do smoothies all the time. So I'll tell him, make sure you take your mineral capsules. So they're like vitamins. But I don't take a multivitamin just because I get it from the food. So I usually will. That's why I eat a lot of vegetables in the salads, is because you get your vitamins from your food as long as you're eating your food.
Mhm.
But in the mineral powders, I'll usually get that when I mix my powders from the herbs. So that's how I do it.
How do you do your intermittent fasting?
Well, I'll start, let's see, from the last meal that I usually have. Sometimes I eat late at night, but I usually eat 7 or 8 at the latest. But I don't
Mhm.
eat anymore after that. And then the next day, I still don't eat. I'll just have my lime water, and then I'll wait until 1 p.m., sometimes 2 p.m., and have my first meal. And then I'll eat let's see, how long is the window? Until between 1 p.m. and 7. So I'll eat in a 6-hour window, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Um,
Um, what was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you. So, So you don't even have you don't even eat eggs.
No, I haven't eaten eggs in a while. I had stopped eating the eggs just because they do produce mucus. But the eggs are really, they're really good for people. Okay, hold on, I'm sorry. But eggs are really good for, the protein, and they have a lot of other good vitamins in them. But I don't eat eggs on a regular basis anymore. I used to, but I don't eat them like I used to.
Okay, because a little personal thing. I've been seeing a personal trainer, and he's like, you should eat eggs in the morning. But like for some reason, I don't know what it is, but just something just turns me off about eggs. So I'm trying to find another supplement for protein because I've been fasting 8 p.m. to 12 p.m.
Hmm.
and I just don't want to eat eggs. 'Cause it just kind of grosses me out, and also the mucus. I used to have really bad allergies, but like it's gotten so much better, you know. So I don't know
Yeah.
what to eat.
Okay, so eggs are an allergen, just like milk is and nuts
No, it's
is.
not.
Yeah,
Really?
it's
That makes
definitely an
so much
allergen.
sense now.
Yeah. So usually people, if there's anything like some vaccines might have eggs in them, and people don't realize it or don't know it. And then if you have that vaccine, then you're going to have those allergenic effects. But they do have eggs are an allergen, so they're on that list of the main foods that have allergens, and eggs and milk are one of them, a couple of them. But uh, if you can't eat eggs, it's always best to eat intuitively. So whatever your body doesn't want, you don't need it. So don't
Okay.
force yourself to eat it because it is the thing to do. If you can't do it, if it makes your stomach feel weird or if it makes you feel uncomfortable just eating it, then your body doesn't like it and it does not need it. So
Okay.
don't force yourself to eat it. So if you can't eat the eggs, then look at the nuts and seeds and see which one of those you can eat. Because like for my daughter, she can't eat some eggs. She can eat eggs, but she can't eat certain nuts. And so I just get her seeds. So she'll eat sunflowers and pumpkin seeds and flax seeds and chia seeds. So you can get protein from those sources. You don't have to get it from the animal source or eggs.
Thank you for that. That was very useful for me. I don't know about you guys, but that was very useful for me. So tell us about your fitness schedule.
My fitness schedule. Oh my goodness. I have not Okay, I haven't done fitness in about a month. Okay, what I was doing though was I always called it my bedside fitness routine. And what I would do is I would do push-ups, and I would do burpees. I would do weights, hand weights, and let's see what else did I stretching. Now, stretching is something that I do at nighttime. Um, and I would do it in the morning, but I like to do it at nighttime. Stretching is like one of those anti-aging secrets that many people don't realize. We get stiff, we get, our limbs start to stiffen up, our muscles start to tighten up. If we are not stretching, it makes it hard for us to stay balanced. It makes it hard for us to move around fluidly when we are just stiff all the time. So where we might see old people where they start bending over, that's just lack of stretching. If you did nothing else, if you did no other cardio and all you did was stretch, you're like more than 50% there when it comes to fitness, because stretching is very important. It helps your lymphatic system, helps to keep that blood flow. So stretching is something that I do all the time, and I do that at nighttime, and then I do it in the morning. So that's something that I really never stopped doing.
Interesting,
So
very, very interesting. So you briefly touched on the coronavirus. So from the as an expert, what are your thoughts on coronavirus? Because I think that a lot of people are doing a lot of Googling, and they're basically being just there's a lot of fear that's going around, and I would like to know your thoughts on it as, like I said, as an expert.
um, well, with when it comes to Googling, I do a lot of research, and um, unfortunately, some things that I used to see on Google, they're not there anymore. And so I do know that they're, in that pharmaceutical business. So some things that I'm always looking for a natural remedy for things. So what I used to see on Google is not there anymore. So I have to use a different search engine to really find information when it comes to Googling for health. So, but when it comes to the virus, I think that most people are focusing on the fear of it and not the health side of it. Um, we always Viruses are always they've been around for ages, since humanity has been around on this world. Viruses are in our body. Bacteria is in our body, and our immune system thrives on those. So if we focus mainly on our immunity and not so much the fear and the mask, we can actually we can we can overcome this without being so feared. When I talk to people about how to be healthy during this time, I always like to say, please don't focus on the mask. Wearing the mask is not going to strengthen your immune system. It will not even boost your immune system. What, if anything, the research that I have found, it suppresses the immune system. So I'll give you an example. When I wear the mask and I cover my face, I find that I have to take deep breaths quite often. And the reason is, when you're anemic, you cannot restrict your oxygen intake. With anemia, you already have an oxygen restriction going on internally, because your red blood cells, their job is to transport oxygen throughout your blood system. And if you're anemic, that's not happening. So when you wear a mask, you're restricting your oxygen intake, and you're only causing yourself dizziness, suppressed immunity, your immunity slows down, lightheadedness, and those are things that I have experienced when I did wear the mask. So the things that we're doing right now, a lot of it has not been, a lot of these things have not, there's no research and science in them, and things have just been thrown at us, and it gets so overwhelming. But when people are told you're going to die if you don't do this and if you don't do that, people are going extra with it. Like, they're wearing a mask in the car. They're wearing a mask while they're running and jogging. Though that's dangerous, very dangerous. And we don't know the health situation of everybody. And when you're telling people wear the mask and do this and do that, you don't know what people's health condition is. You don't know if people have a health condition. Some people don't even know they have a health condition. And so they're doing these things, and they're making themselves worse off. So while you have to use your own judgment and say, okay, if I'm anemic, do I want to wear the mask because I'm told I'm protecting them, or is it more important to protect me? It's more important to protect me, and I'm not going to restrict my oxygen. So I'm going to make the decision that's for me. But I think people should focus more on immunity. Strengthen your immune system. You should be doing something daily. You can take antivirals, because if we're dealing with the virus, then you need to consider taking antivirals. And that's something that I started doing with my family when this whole quarantine started. I thought, okay, we need to, start getting some antivirals in our body and keep our immune system functioning so that we don't get overcome. Because a lot of the people who are getting sick or getting deathly sick or dying, those are the ones they have found to have compromised immunity, and they had underlying health conditions. Some of them probably didn't even know they had health conditions going on. So we have to be careful. We can't just do everything we're told to do if we have health conditions going on. Everything doesn't apply to everybody. You know what I mean? So for me, the mask wearing just doesn't apply. It just doesn't work for me, because I know the science behind it, and I know I'm not protecting anyone, and they're not protecting me, whether or not they're wearing the mask. But I do want to breathe, and I don't want to get lightheaded and faint anywhere in public because I'm trying to protect someone else, when this is what matters the most, me. So, I know we're told, that we could possibly be asymptomatic. We're always asymptomatic. Yeah. That's how we catch a cold. You're catching it because you're around others who might have a cold virus on them or something. But that's a part of life. That's how humans evolve. That's how our immune system, continues to thrive on remembering what we have that pathogen that we had in our body before. It remembers those experiences. And the human body is very intelligent. We just have to learn to respect that. But we were not designed to be injected for every little cold and flu that comes around. That wasn't God's intention. We were given an immune system. Our immune system has a memory, and whenever we are around those familiar pathogens, our immune system automatically knows what to do to heal us even faster. When I was a kid, I had chickenpox. Whenever one of us would get chickenpox, one of the kids in my neighborhood, the parents would say, bring her over here and let her play with you guys, or go over there and play with your friend. She has the chicken pox. And we would go, okay, let's go play. So we would all get the chicken pox, because the virus is so, it's highly contagious. Within an hour, you would have contracted the chicken pox. So we would catch the chicken pox and everybody would get it. We would get rid of it. But those are just childhood diseases those are childhood viruses that are normal. That's just a part of humanity. So these days we're not allowed to do that. When you have chickenpox as a childhood, that actually protects you from getting heart disease later in life. So those types of things, that's the magic of the body. The human body is very intelligent. So those are the things and that could be why we get those viruses and things as a kid, because our body is protecting us later in life as well.
That's fascinating.
People should just focus on immunity, not so much as fearing and wearing the mask. What are you doing daily to strengthen your immune system? Because if all you're focused on is just wearing a mask and buying boxes and boxes of masks and wearing all these cute, fancy masks, and you're not strengthening your immune system, then you're not helping yourself or anyone else.
We're not gonna talk about how that kind of makes me mad. Seeing all the fancy designs, I respect the hustle. Like you see an opportunity, hop on it to make money because that's what we do as Americans. But it's kind of like you're taking advantage of people, and I don't like that. I feel like it's morally wrong.
Yeah, because it's there are so many products that have come out of this whole thing. There's designed masks and the T-shirts and things like that. But,
oh my God, look at this! My aunt gave me this bottle of hand sanitizer. I'm like, what? How much did you spend on this? Like, it's all pretty and stuff. I'm like, this is not necessary.
Right. Yeah, I think the focus is just it's in the wrong place. We seriously need to think about what's going to keep us alive. Will the mask keep you alive? I know they say stay home, save lives, but if that's a virus, and it's a powerful virus, yes, definitely, when you get it. But if you have a strong immune system, which is what you should be focusing on, then you can overcome that. You're not going to die. It's like you don't have to be so afraid of something that our immune system was designed to fight off. It's a tough fight because that virus is it's real. But we shouldn't be focused on a mask that's not going to strengthen our immune system. It will not. I promise you it won't. You need to be taking antivirals. Those will strengthen your immune system. So, and eating more fruits and vegetables.
Awesome. This is so enriching. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is I was stalking your Amazon website. I've added a couple of lists to my wish list, and I want to talk to you. You do sell crystals
on the Amazon website? I don't. Oh, you mean you mean for the immunity?
The jewelry. Sorry.
Things. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So can you talk to us about the benefits of crystals for people who don't know?
Well, my only reason for, let's see, I think it's what I put on there, the necklaces and the bracelets, I believe.
Yes, there's just necklaces and the bracelets.
There were, and then there's some stickers where I was mentioning that you can put it's mainly the stickers, because I don't really get into the crystals. Let's see, I know people use the crystals as some type of maybe some type of religious ritual or something like that, and I don't get into them like that. I only like those stickers that I put on my website. Those are EMF protectors or EMF neutralizers. And those there are stickers on there that you can put on the back of your phone, and those can help to neutralize the EMF radiation that comes from your cell phone use, or that
Can you
comes
explain EMF to us?
the EMF, electromagnetic field. What that is it comes from, you know, your cell phone use. Your cell phone emits a small amount of radiation, and your laptop also emits radiation, and then of course your Wi-Fi, and then any other electronic that you have in your house, they emit electronic radiation. And what research has found is that they also can be dangerous to the human body, because the more radiation that you absorb, the more it can affect the cells in your body and your DNA and things like that. So in your immunity as well. So it's really best to try to limit the exposure that you get from the EMF radiation, because the more that you're exposed to it, the more you're going to start to see symptoms or have symptoms from the exposure. That could be headaches, heart palpitations, forgetfulness, brain fog, lack of sleep at night, and some
Mm.
people have skin issues. Yeah, so it can really affect that. Um, a lot of doctors have been recommending that people, you know, turn off their Wi-Fi at night, because your Wi-Fi is like the big box in the house that actually emits high doses of the EMF radiation, and it really interferes with your sleep. It really interferes with your ability to go into that deep sleep state, which a lot of people do not, and that explains why a lot of people can wake up feeling really tired and like they really didn't rest, and that usually is contributed to the EMF that comes from the Wi-Fi. That's why a lot of people are advised to turn the Wi-Fi off at nighttime. When you go to bed, you should not be sleeping with the box on, because it can really affect your the neurotransmitters in your brain, and it can affect your just your overall health. So uh, EMF is, and it can get worse because now we have the towers going up all over, and those can actually sync with the electronic gadgets that you have, like your cell phone. It can turn up the volume of that radiation being emitted from those gadgets. So it's really important to try to find ways to neutralize and limit your use, like wearing wireless Bluetooth for your phone. If it's wireless, then you're emitting a lot of radiation right into your brain.
Oh yeah.
If you're, yeah, so, and the same for your, like your earbuds, where some people
Mhm.
have wireless earbuds, or they have, like they use the airplane mode. They don't use the airplane mode on their phone, because when you turn on the airplane mode on your phone, you actually turn that off. So, but you can have a Bluetooth on your laptop, and if you're using the Bluetooth on your laptop, it's the same thing. You can also have that emitting that EMF coming from your laptop as well.
And so you don't have either you don't have earbuds.
I do. I do have earbuds. I do have wired ones too. Mine are wired. I've never used a Bluetooth before, and I'm actually going through some changes of eliminating a lot of the EMF in my home. So I'm back to the corded phone. I started back using the corded phone. I know, right?
What?
I never got rid of my. I'm going back, but I actually I never got rid of my landline phone, so I still have
Mhm.
it, but it's cordless. So a cordless phone still emits EMF radiation. So
Mhm.
now I just purchased a corded phone to plug in, and then I'm going to add more corded phones around my house again. So yeah, so I won't be using the online phone service like we currently have.
Mhm. Do you guys have cable?
We do. Yeah, we do have cable. And it's so we have to we're going to be grounding the cord for the Wi-Fi as well, so that we don't have the Wi-Fi. We're going to actually ground everything corded to
I like that idea.
remove that. that radiation. But there's a lot that can be done because when those towers continue to get installed, they're going to it's going to be bombarding us with lots of radiation, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really unhealthy for our DNA. So the more, as much as we can, we should try to eliminate that exposure. So I'm just starting in my home right now, just doing some small things.
Awesome, awesome. I'm learning so much right now. And it's making a lot of sense why I've been feeling the way that I've been feeling lately on top of other reasons.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yep.
what was I going to ask you next? So for someone who does want to get physically well and they're like on that, they're past the edge, where would you say they should start right now today?
If they want to get physically well, I would say the first thing that they would do, they have to be willing to eliminate some things. The first thing I do when I work with clients is I always have them go through a removal process, removing things that is really making them sick. And if you're willing to remove and make a change, that's the first thing I always suggest. And you can start seeing a difference just by removing things from your diet. If you're, if you're wanting to eat healthy and get on the right track and eliminate some of the health challenges that you have, the first thing would be to start removing, the bad foods from your diet.
Okay. What do you say to people who have like those cravings?
Um, they have to start changing whatever it is that they're eating, because most of the time when people have those food cravings, um, it's they're not getting in any types of fermented foods or any of the bitter foods. And the bitter foods and those fermented foods will eliminate the cravings like really fast. And the bitter foods could be like dandelion, kale, some of the bitter greens. Those are the foods that actually help to eliminate the cravings. And when people start, and then you have to stop eating those craves, because usually the foods that you're actually craving are the foods that you actually have sensitivities to. They're causing your problem. So yeah, they are
Sorry.
usually your problem.
Sorry.
So whatever it is that you're craving, you need to replace it with something bitter, or you need to replace it with some fermented foods like pickles or sauerkraut or olives or kimchi. Those need to be added into your repertoire of good foods. And then you can replace, one of those with replace one of those those foods that you crave with one of those bitter or fermented foods, and
That's
you will
genius.
start to see the cravings go away. Because one of the problems that I had before I started this whole healthy eating journey is I was addicted to sugar. When I
Mm-hmm.
started eating sugar, I went all in. If I ate some cookies, I would almost eat the pack. Like I had to try to limit myself, and oh, I'm just going to eat 6 cookies. That's still a lot, especially if they're
Yeah.
Oreos, but that's a lot. So I used to go all in when it came to the sugar, and then I had to start eating more fermented foods because I wasn't eating any fermented foods. And usually when you have gut issues and leaky gut, then those can cause those, you're going to have those cravings. And also, again, the foods that you're craving are usually the foods that you should not be eating. You're sensitive to those foods.
So let's talk about going back to school. Do you think we should go?
Um, I definitely think we should go. I don't like the idea of kids sitting in the classroom with a mask on, because that's evoking fear.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole mindset is putting kids into a mindset of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not going to trust that kid. Oh, we can no longer coexist like we used to. We can't, if someone coughs or sneezes, they're no longer human. They're not supposed to cough and sneeze anymore. Those are things that, we would hear people cough and sneeze all the time, and it was no big deal. And nowadays, you can't, you're told don't come out if you have a cough or if you're sneezing, or, like everyone's afraid if they hear a sneeze. So I just think that it's a really scary thought that kids will be sitting in a classroom with the mask on, because we are social beings by nature, and to not be able to see a smile on a kid's face, or to not be able to see an emotion, those things are now going to be hidden if kids are sitting in the classroom with a mask on. And not only that, they're restricting their oxygen. So
Mhm.
for kids who already have anxiety issues, which is not something that kids should have, but they do these days, wearing the mask is only going to contribute to that problem, because you're restricting your oxygen and you're causing physical stress on your body. That's raising blood pressure in people. That's raising, it's just causing a lot of unnatural problems that really we don't need to have. I mean, we shouldn't be having. So I do feel sad that the kids are going to have to go back to school wearing a mask. Um, it's
I've
sad.
been more worried about the staff, not just the teachers, but the janitors and the cafeteria ladies or men, because usually those are older individuals who do have health problems.
Hmm.
So
And
I'm worried
so,
about their
yeah,
exposure.
right. Um, well, even though, see, what we're seeing too is that we're being instructed to wear a mask, okay?
Mhm.
Now, we're also being told, if you're 6 feet away, you cannot pass any types of viruses or germs or whatever. But then you have people, they want you now, they're saying, okay, 6 feet away, wear a mask. 6 feet away, wear a mask. So now you're doing both. You're 6 feet away and you're being told no one can catch anything, but yet you're still wearing a mask.
Mhm.
What's the logic behind that? Why are you wearing a mask if no one's around you? You're not near
Mhm.
anyone. Why? It just seems that some of the things that we're instructed to do are really unrealistic. But people who do have health issues or underlying health issues could be making it worse because they are wearing a mask. Like I said, a person with anemia or any blood issues don't do well wearing a mask because they're causing more restriction of their oxygen flow. And if you have a blood issue, or if you have anemia, any type of anemia, you're only restricting your oxygen even more. So that is not conducive to getting better. It's only causing you more suppression of your immune system, which can cause more emotion. It can cause more physical stress in the body. If you have high blood pressure, you can cause it to go even higher because you're restricting your oxygen flow, um, and it can cause more stress on your body. And with people not knowing the health and they're not doing the research, they don't know. So they're conforming and they're doing all these things that they're told to do at the cost of their health. So, and because all of this was not, is the things that we're instructed to do are really not science based, not enough research has been done, and everyone's just being told to do one thing, like wear a
Mhm.
mask. But this girl has sickle cell anemia, she has anemia, she has high blood pressure, and she's restricting her oxygen. Doesn't that, it just, that alone will cause more stress on the body and cause your
Mhm.
body to react in ways of raising your blood pressure, or, causing you to be lightheaded, dizzy, which is causing more problems than helping. So,
Mhm. Um. So let's talk about kids and anxiety. Why do you think kids have so much anxiety now?
uh, well, there's some things I know that contributes to it that I can't really say here.
Mhm.
Um, but gut health is a big part of it, because
Mhm.
your brain is connected to your gut without a doubt. Your brain, your gut is your second brain, okay? Um, and what goes on in your brain also is reflective of what's happening in your gut. If you have poor gut health, if you have your balance of your flora in your gut is off, if you have dysbiosis going on, that's where you just have a imbalance of good bacteria and bad bacteria, it's going to affect you up here as well. And people who are depressed or sad or anxious, they have some gut problems. they have some gut issues. It could be leaky gut. It could just be dysbiosis. And most of the time it's leaky gut, which can cause anxiety, depression. It can cause all types of problems, skin problems. And if those things are not corrected, then that person is going to have some issues up here. So with kids with anxiety, I've seen kids have severe constipation issues. I've seen
Mhm.
2-year-olds have yeast infections. I mean, these kids I've seen infants with a yeast infection. And this is because kids are, they're not being fed properly. They're not
Mhm.
getting the right foods in their diets. And then they're going and they're getting these injections, which are giving them more, heavy metal toxicity. Those things also lead to anxiety and depression and brain fog and slow development, speech development. All of these things are happening because of heavy metal toxicity and then just poor gut health. And the poor gut health is just coming from too much sugar in the diet, too many
Mhm.
antibiotics that kids are getting.
Mhm.
And if the diet is already poor, if your gut health is already poor, and then you're given antibiotics for an ear infection, well, there's your problem. You're gonna, that problem is gonna continue to spiral, just because kids are not being fed healthy these days.
That makes so much sense, though. That makes so much sense because I'm very anti giving kids any kind of vaccine or no, sorry, not vaccine. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Whatever. Any kind of vaccine or putting them on any kind of anti-anxiety medication because I feel like that inhibits their mental growth. Like kids get worried, kids get scared. And saying just swallow a pill isn't going to help them cope with it.
Right. Yeah, I've seen kids go from being human to being put on ADD medication and watching them turn into a zombie. Like
Yes,
that is the
yes,
weirdest thing to see for a
it's
kid.
terrifying.
It is, and I've seen it, and I didn't know that the medication can be so powerful and controlling in the child's mind that they become a zombie. And as parents, we have to use our own common sense as well. We can't just give our kids everything that we're instructed to give them, because you're responsible for that child. And just because you go and your doctor says give this child that, and then you give it to them and things don't work out, you're still giving it to them, and even though it's not working. I mean, I've seen kids take two and three um, 2 and 3 doses of, or how do you say, 2 and 3 programs of antibiotics until they start pooping tissues and bloody tissues out of their body.
Mhm.
Their intestinal tract is just so messed up from antibiotics. And and people, and the parents just like, well, the doctor said to give it to her, and I'm just going to give it. It's like now she's excreting her intestinal lining. I mean, you're just going to do this to your child. But
Mhm.
so we have to start using our own common sense. We can't just give our kids anything and everything, that we're instructed. Yes, I know some things, us parents don't know, but we need to start doing more research, and we
Mhm.
need to start getting more answers and asking the question, why? Why do I need to do this? Why do I need to give that? Why do I need to take this or take that? Because that's the only way that we can be educated, is to start asking the question why, and really paying attention to our kids, and just respecting our bodies and not just eating any and everything. But that's mainly what I have been seeing with kids having problems with anxiety and depression and all of that. Just poor
There's so
diet.
much. I'm gonna have so much fun editing this video. It's probably gonna make a 10-minute video because like there's so many gems that you're giving me right now. So where can people find you, follow you, stalk you?
They can find me on Instagram. They can also find my website at terrytalks.co. That's TERRY talks.co. And if they wanted to do like a one-on-one nutritional consultation with me, they can schedule that on my website as well.
Her website is very extensive, guys. Extremely useful. And I guess I haven't been very vocal about this, I guess, but we I think this virus is a sign for everyone to just take care of your body. You know,
Yeah.
like germs are good for you. That's how you build up your immune system. It's
Exactly.
what Terry said. What are you doing when you're not posting selfies online? You know, are you just stuffing your face with ribs? Like, is that really going to help you, or is it going to hurt you? I was craving
Right.
ribs yesterday. I was literally, I was sitting in the car and I was like, no one will know. Like, no one will know I just ate these ribs. I was like, no, like this is just gonna hurt you. Um, do you have? Oh! I don't know if you were on this. Remember when we used to do the lives on Periscope? Was it every Monday or Wednesday?
Yeah. Yeah. I
I don't
remember.
know. Yeah. Do you remember one topic was what are your feelings about social media? And I want to ask you because you said that you've had your business since 2006. No. This
2000.
business you said you went online the past 5 years?
Yeah. I started 2016.
20, that's where I got the 6 from. 2016. So, how do you feel now about social media since you've been going online with your business?
Um, I've learned a lot about social media, and I wasn't so much on social media until I started doing my online business. I'm more of a reserved person, so I don't usually like get on social media and tell my thoughts about things. I do enjoy writing, so every once in a while I'll get on my personal Facebook page and I'll write about a current topic about something. But I usually don't use social media like to talk to people or to just play around on there. I just really don't use it that way. I usually
Mm-hmm.
just I'll post business, but I do comment on other people's posts on social media. So I think that nowadays there's a lot of things that are being censored, on social media, and so you don't have that freedom of speech anymore, on social media as we did before. So it's really limiting, and I just feel like, but the people need to know, the people need
Mm-hmm.
to know. Why are you blocking this Facebook? Come on,
Oh no, have we
you
been on for
know.
an hour? Oh my gosh, they're about to cut us off in 20 seconds. Thank you
Okay.
guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Terry. This was so informative. I can't believe we were talking for an hour. Okay, thank you guys so much for
All
watching.
right.
Thank you, Terry. I'll talk
Bye.
to you later.
Okay. Bye.